Good morning. Good morning. Here I come. Getting my act together. Tell me where you're calling from or watching from or listening from. Getting my act together. Ooh, Blanca, you're going to run a few miles with me. You're the beast. I can't run and listen to anything but music. All right. Okay, here I is. Here I is. Good morning, y'all. Hi, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Indiana, Pennsylvania. Got my Texas people. Hi, New Zealand. Chicago. I got something to say about Chicago today. Houston, yes, humid. New Jersey. Hi, New Zealand here. England, lovely. I love it. Maryland. My peeps are in Maryland. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I want y'all to know I changed my shirt for you. Hold on, let me turn down this light. I changed my shirt for you. I wasn't going to do it, but I did it. I didn't work out yesterday. I didn't go outside. So disappointed because I specifically did not go out yesterday or make my kids work out because, hey, Rwanda, because the weather report said it was going to rain. And it looked like it was going to rain all day. And then it didn't. I mean, talk about major disappointment. I was hunkered down for a storm. I was ready. I had some soup made. I had my blanket positioned. I mean, I arranged my whole situation yesterday on all the things I wasn't going to do to go outside. Have you ever prepared for weather that didn't come? Rain or sunshine? You know, it is what it is. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. So just was giving you guys a chance, you girls, a chance to jump on. And I wanted to let you know that I do want to take, I forgot. Shucks. There's this spray that I was supposed to show y'all. And I left it downstairs. The spray, okay, maybe I can find it on Amazon. But I don't know if I can find it. Anyway, the point is, I was prepared for something yesterday that didn't happen. And so I told my boys they didn't have to run. I told them that was a day this week they could play video games because we probably weren't going to be going outside. And, just the whole setup was wrong. So when it didn't rain and I was like, okay, y'all, it didn't rain, so we can go work out. They were like, but you said we don't have to. But you said we don't have to. I had already rearranged our schedule. I had said, Thursday and Saturday can be our running days. We're in week 4 of C to 5K. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. But the point is, I misspoke. I misplanned based on what I thought was going to happen. And so a lot of times in life, y'all, we misplan when we plan incorrectly based on what we think is going to happen. But the problem is when we don't have a plan at all. Good morning. Oh, Jesse, thanks. Y'all, Jesse's watching me on his phone. And he went and got me the spray. Thanks. I'm sitting here searching on Amazon. So y'all were asking me yesterday about the spray my mother used to get. I don't know, people on. This is the right one. Times eucalyptus spray, home fragrance mist. Now I have to tell you, when I went and bought it myself, I was like, my mama was buying some spray. This is not your this is not Febreze. Okay, it does not cost Febreze money.
That's from my stash.
Oh, this is yours?
That's mine. She got me one.
She got you one too?
Yeah, and that's mine.
Are you sure she got you one, or did she give it to you to give to me?
That's mine. No, that's mine.
Are you sure?
Promise you. She took care of me.
She did take care of you. You don't get it twisted. Okay. So, anyway. So that's the spray. Y'all were asking me questions. I was going to say, somebody said your husband of the year. Somebody said yesterday that they were trying to ask me a question. Ask me the questions, but just know at the end when I say, hey, do you have any questions? Put them back. Like copy and paste your own question and put it back. Because I mean, it's a lot to go through, 20 minutes of questions and find it. So, okay. So this morning, here's the thing I wanted to talk about. Planning for things to happen and what happens when you don't plan. And how that relates to being productive in your life with your time. Okay, so if you are on my mailing list, then you already got it. But just in case you didn't, I'm going to go ahead and put up what you need to get on my mailing list, Instagrammers. Priscilla, here you are again in Instagram, interrupting things. What is your question? Oh my gosh. If you want to get on my email list, just go to crystalevanshurst.com. And that is where you can make sure you're on my email list when you put your name in the email list. Y'all, Priscilla's out here foolery. I'll put my email list. Then that will get you on a 5-day prayer journey. And then you'll get the other emails. But I already gave you, if you're on my email list, and if you're not, you will get it soon, this printable for managing your time. And so, y'all, Priscilla, stop it! What if we just want to sleep and don't want to plan? You have to answer that question. I don't know. Because you've gotten a lot done with a lot of sleep and very little planning. Like the kind of planning I'm going to talk about today. Oh, okay. You're going to have to stop interrupting my live situations. Just stirring stuff up. Okay. So anyway, okay, so yes, that's what I want to talk about. Because a lot of you all ask, how do I manage my time? And so what I have sent, and I will send again, is the printable for managing your time. It's a worksheet, not hard. It's just a one-pager. All I did, y'all, was make something pretty. Stop, Scylla. Make something pretty. So I basically just took 5 a.m., I think, to 11 p.m., split it into 30-minute increments. You can use what I put together. And stop, Priscilla, you're distracting me. So I just put it in 30-minute increments. But then we made it pretty so that you can, okay, if you're going to do this, then you have to come on. You can't do this. But that means we have to Skype in the whole 9 yards, which is why, y'all, if I bring her on Instagram, you'll see her on Instagram, but you won't see her everywhere else. You're disrupting the peace. Okay, y'all, I can't even get my mind straight. Here's the bottom line. People are always asking me, they ask Priscilla too, how do y'all get it all done? So the first thing you need to know is our mother has a book called Seasons of a Woman's Life. We'll put the link to that in the resources for today too. And one of the things she would say over and over and over again is that you get to do it, but you don't have to do it all at the same time. And one of the ways that you prioritize what you do in any given time is to make decisions about how you spend your time every day. Okay? And so what I want you to know is that you do have to take an inventory of your time if you don't feel like you have enough time to decide where you spend your time intentionally. If you never have time, the problem is you have the same 24 hours that we already have, that everybody has. The difference is how you spend it. How you spend it. So the first thing I want to ask before I get into some tips for being more productive and using your time well is that if you think in advance that this video is going to be a blessing to you, or the other videos that I've shared have been a blessing to you, then I want you to share this video to make sure it goes as far and wide as it can. The other thing I want to do real quick is show you, you can take a screenshot of this if you like. I want to show you what this Manage Your Time PDF looks like. And so if you're on Facebook or Instagram or Periscope, you can see it right now, right there in the top corner of my screen. So that's all I did. I just made it pretty. And if you want to grab that, make sure you're on my email list. Certainly, crystalevanshurst.com. Okay, so here are some things for how I currently manage my time. You have to have a time that is yours to work on the things that you're saying you don't have the time to do. Meaning that you get up early, you stay up late, you make your kids go to bed early, you make them take a nap time. You get up before you go to work. You take a lunch and work on your passion project. You go home and you stay off of your phone. You figure out what you can do less of so that you can do more of the things that you want to do. Instagram, if you're saying you can't see it, it's because I have to stream to Instagram and only Instagram on my phone, because Instagram doesn't play with the other conundrum situation that I have here that allows me to go live everywhere else. So if you just make sure you're on my email list, you don't have to worry about seeing it because I'll send it to you. Okay, ChrystalEvansHurst.com. So managing your time simply means thinking about what you're not able to do. So you have to think about, what have I been saying that I can't do? I don't have time. Because you do have time. You just have to make room in your time for the thing you want to do. So what are you saying? Identify what you're saying you don't have the time to do. Then what you need to do is use your own spiral notebook. Use the PDF that I'm going to share with you if you don't already have it. If you Google daily schedule, 30-minute increments, printable, you will find somebody who's already created the same thing I have. Okay, it's not rocket science. The point is you then have to take an inventory of your time. Identify what you're not able to do. Inventory your current time. So for at least one day, maybe 3, you write down everything you're doing so that you can see where you're spending your time. Okay? So you identify what you don't have the time to do. Inventory how you're currently spending your time. Identify, again, you got to go back to identify where you're wasting time. Okay? And then get inspired as you delete those things for what you're going to add in. So identify what you can't do. Because in all of life, y'all, we are motivated by either usually what we're afraid of, meaning pain or consequences, or we're motivated by what we desire. And so you need to identify the pain point that I'm afraid I'm not going to get to these things that are important to me. I'm afraid that I'm never going to spend the time doing the thing that I said I want to do. I'm afraid that I will die before I. That's the sentence that you need to, that's the blank that you need to fill in. I will die. I'm afraid I will die before I. What is in that blank? Because that will help you to identify the thing that you're saying you don't have time to do that you really, really need to make the time to do. Then you need to inventory your time. You need to walk around with a piece of paper and write down, everything, y'all, everything. You need to write down that I spent 15 minutes on social media, that I sat in traffic for 20 minutes. It took me an hour to and from in the car. Listen, I went to school. I've got a degree I'm in the middle of, and life has happened. Surgery, Winter died. Just a series of things. But I'm going to get back to that degree in theology. So listen, I met a girl who had children who had an hour commute to class. This girl told me, and I just looked at her like, side. It's like this, that she had 21 hours that semester. I said, what? You taking what? I said, how in the world do you fit in 21 hours? She said, well, I have a commute every day. That's an hour. So in some of my classes I'm taking online. So on that commute, I prop up my phone in the little area and I listen to class on my way to class. I listen. That's the way I can get it in. Many people who you hear about reading books, and they're reading 52 books a year. They're not reading books with a book like this. They're not doing this every day. They're listening. They're listening to Audible. They're listening to books as they clean up around the house. They're listening to books as they go to work. Many of you consume content because you are podcasting and you're listening as you're doing something else, mopping the floor, doing the dishes. I consumed a whole webinar yesterday evening. It was wonderful. And I did it, y'all, while we were preparing dinner. So if you don't even know what you're doing with your time, you won't see the pockets of available time. Then, after you've identified your pain point, what am I afraid I'm not going to get to? What am I frustrated that I never get to? Once you identify and inventory the existing way that you're spending your time, then you go back and identify the things that you are doing that are taking your time, that do not need to be taking your time, or at least to that degree. Okay, at least to that degree. She said, shameless plug. I just want you to know that was the book I still had on my desk from yesterday. Anyway, because I haven't moved anything since yesterday. Okay, so then what you do is get inspired by all of the pockets of time that you actually do have. And then you decide how you want to fill them. Okay? The sky's the limit. But remember, you can do everything in seasons. Seasons. You can't do it all right now. And that means you have to prioritize. That's the hard part. Because that means you have to decide what's going to wait. Some things that you're going to prioritize shouldn't wait because the season will not be there later. Let me give you an example. My children, if I don't focus in some way on things that will matter with my children right now, I will not have that season later. They will leave me. They will be gone. And then all I will be left with is the regret of what I didn't do when I had the opportunity to do it. Does that make sense? Okay. If you don't save when you're young, if you don't make the decision to budget and to manage your money when you're young, you can do it later. You can definitely do it later. But then you will spend later seasons cleaning up what you didn't choose to do in earlier seasons. I talked about that in another video that I shared. Use this time to invest. Invest in you. Invest. If you've never done a budget before, now is your season, honey. My son-in-law says that season is the most used word by Christian women everywhere around the world. It's my season. Yes, yes. And it's true. But you have to say, what will I regret later that I didn't do right now? And decide what right nows take priority because the season will never return again. I have a child who in school, she was thinking about getting her master's degree. And I said, you should do it. And she said, yeah, but I'm tired and this and this and that. I said, you should do it. She said, but why? I said, because right now you're in the mode. And I'm telling you that if you think you want to do it, and then you don't keep going right now, it's not that you can't come back later. But I talked to way more people who wish they had kept going because they never got back to it than people who kept going and are glad they just have it. Now, I hear a lot of people will say that when they got their master's degree or they got their education, they wish they had had more maturity to appreciate it. That people who go back and get it are glad they got it later because they knew a little bit more of what they needed to know. And there's a case for that. But I talk way more to people who meant to come back and do the thing and then didn't. So I was telling her, while you're in this season, while you're in this mode, while you're used to eating ramen noodles, keep going, because I have a feeling that if you stop, it'll be hard to come back. And more than not, that advice has been true for many, not for all, but for many. So what is in your current season that you're saying, I will get back to this later, but then based on typical trajectory of human life, it's likely that you won't. You got to love on those babies while you have them. You got to love on that spouse while you have them. You have to invest in your financial security when you don't have major bills. 25-year-olds, if you are under 30 and you are up early, because if you're under 30, I applaud you for being up early. Can you just give me a thumbs up? I want to see who my millennials, the bottom of the millennial pool, the top of the zennial pool. I want to see if you're even here. You're even awake. Because that right there is for you. Now, it's never too late. My grandmother helped my grandfather when she was in her 50s and they saved up everything they needed for retirement. I see you. Okay, under 30s. I see you coming through. Hey, Momo. I see y'all waking up, trying to be somebody. Good for you. So while you're in your 20s, Oprah said, I went and saw her. No comments about that because I did it and I was glad I did it. But the point is, I went and saw her and she said the 20s, she went through all the decades. And she said, and it's true, the 20s are for collecting information. The problem is the kind of information most of us collected in our 20s and most of us collect in our 20s is the kind of information that we are telling other people when we're 40. Let me tell you what I learned the hard way when I was 20. That's not the kind of information you want to collect. The kind of information you want to collect is, let me tell you what I'm so glad, so glad that I started doing when I was 20. I'm going to tell you what I'm so glad I did when I was 20. I'm so glad I bought insurance that would last me until I was 75 because it was cheap. And now I went to go add life insurance, and at 40 something, it ain't cheap. I'm so glad at 20 I worked for a financial investment company and in that season invested in that thing. And y'all, this is not about money. I'll come on later and talk about money. This is about the principle that is the truth for money. If you're saying, I don't have enough money, you have to identify what it is that you want to do with your money. Then you have to take inventory of the money that you have. That's what a budget is. Then you have to identify the money that you're spending in the wrong places. And then you need to get inspired by the reality that you actually have more money than what you think you do. You've just been wasting it. It's the same principle because it's about resources. It's about resources. Time is a resource just like money is. And when you realize that time is a resource, then you can be more intentional about how you spend it. Okay, so let me give you the tips, okay? Those were the steps. Let me give you some practical tips for productivity that I use, some hacks for my time. Okay, in a certain season, so before 2014, I stayed up late. When I was nursing babies, I blogged. I had baby on one tit while I had the other hand free. I shouldn't have said tit. I had a baby in one arm. Made me sound like a cow. So I felt. But anyway, I had a baby in one arm, and then I had my hand free, and I pecked with the other. Late at night, also late at night, I would watch this channel on TV that had scripture verses that were flowing on the screens with beautiful scenery. That's how I fed my mind with the word. Late at night, I read books. Late at night, I cleaned the house. Late at night, because that was the time when I had the empty time, with nobody else bothering me, to have deep time to get things done. I don't like working in like 10-minute sprints. When I want to do deep work, writing, reading, cleaning, things that take time, I don't like to do it and come back. I like to have a block of time, like a solid hour, 90 minutes to work on something. And so late at night was my time. In 2014, however, I ran a marathon. And in order to run with the running group, I had to get up early in the morning. And I met a running group at 5. It was 5 at 5, 5 miles at 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay. And then in order to get there, because that running group was 30 minutes away, y'all, I had to leave my house at 4:30. In order to leave my house at 4:30, I had to be up about 4:15, and I laid out my clothes the night before, so all I had to do was throw them on, brush my teeth, wash my face, and walk out the door. So all of a sudden, I became a morning person. So now, I was watching a show last night. I'm going to tell you about this show in just a minute. I was watching a show last night with my kids. I kept falling asleep because I get up. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. Now my husband came upstairs. So he was up, and he was like, girl, it's 6:30. Are you going to get up and do your live? And I was like, oh, like he woke up before me, and I fell back asleep. But anyway, the point is, I get up early now, and that's my block of time. My kids are not up until 7 o'clock in the morning. So, I have a couple of hours then before I get on with you guys. My kids don't get up now with the corona situation. I let them sleep in a little bit. So I have my block of time. Now, your block of time may not be there, but let me tell you, you find your block. I wanted to work out, single parent. I had to be at work at 7. I got up I left for work at 6:15. And then in the afternoon, she was at childcare. I went to the gym before I picked her up. I was like, I got to get this in. Where can I get this in? Okay. So the productivity is find your spot, whether that's morning, afternoon. Some of you have built businesses or trying to build businesses when your kids nap. Listen, y'all, I used to cloth diaper, and I went to this. Yeah, I know, whatever. It's a whole nother conversation for another day. But I did. I did cloth diaper. Listen, I saved us a bunch of money. I tell you that. But those were my crunchy years. And so I went and picked up cloth diapers because I realized that this girl had a business in her home. And I was like, oh, I can save shipping if I just go pick it up. So I took the kids. We went to her home. She had this whole operation. Her whole garage was like an inventory of cloth diapers. So I just chatted with her about how she made time for her business. I was like, you have 3 kids? And so the productivity hacks that she gave me for that season were, you need to carry your baby. You need to wrap them on you so that you don't have to hold them so that your hands are free. She mentioned the crock pot, which I knew about that. But I was like, oh, okay. She said, if you get dinner going with 15 or 20 minutes in the morning, you don't have to stand over the stove for 90 minutes in the afternoon. So we were talking through productivity hacks for that season of motherhood. But I realized that there were little things I could do within the day to shortcut things that were taking me too long. So let me give you another idea. So productivity is find your blocks of time. That's the first productivity hack. The second thing is find the minutia. What's the word I'm trying to say? Minutia minutes. The minutia minutes, meaning the little foxes that the Bible talks about. So cooking is one of those. Meal planning is another way that you can do that. Don't sit there in the fridge and realize that you don't have the cheese that you need for the spaghetti. Don't do that. At the beginning of the week, sit down, decide what you're going to make all week long. I have, I may bring it up on my screen and show y'all. I plan my meals every week, and I'll put a link. Hold on. I plan my meals every week. Now, I used to do it by hand, and I still can do it. In fact, I kind of still do it by hand. But just brainstorm. What do you typically do for breakfast and lunch anyway? Okay? Then think of dinners. Make that a thing with your family or your children or your husband or your roommate and say, what do we want to eat? Think in advance about that. Write it down. Plan it out. And then after you do that, shop for that so that you get everything you need at one time. One time, I used to do it in a spiral notebook. Then I made myself a Word document and did it in there. And then, and these documents that I'm sharing with you are one of those things that are on the resources page. So, Marissa, I know you're taking notes, but let's make sure we add the resource again to this version of the live, okay? So that way it's easy for people to find. But basically, I want you to know that you can meal plan, and guess what you've done? You've saved yourself trips to the grocery store. Oh my gosh, order your groceries online. Don't go if you don't have to go. Now, in these days right now, it's a little tough because you're going to give them a list and then they can't get everything you needed anyway because the store doesn't have it. So I've just right now decided to go to the stores when they open, once a week, twice if I have to, and that's it. Minimize your time running back and forth to the store. Just don't do it. So plan your meals, plan around what you already have in your pantry so you don't waste a lot of money. Meal planning is a whole separate thing. So I'm just doing a drive-by right now. But instead of standing over the stove, trying to decide what I have and run into the store and, oh my gosh, stay out the store, especially now, stay out the store. But if you plan at the beginning of the week, not only will you keep out of the drive-through lane, which will help your budget financially, it'll keep you knowing what you can do. And so every evening, if you're going to chop up one onion for tonight, but you're going to need 2 other onions before the end of the week, chop them all up. Chop them all up. So that's finding the minutia minutes that you can save, okay? Another thing is, kids are getting up. Another big way to do that is blocking your schedule. Meaning that when my kids were smaller, it's a little different now because as they've gotten older and they have their own activities, and we kind of are a slave to their schedule, which is why Corona has been an unintentional blessing for us all to slow down, y'all. But I had one day to run my errands. I wasn't running out of the house all day long. I was like, if I'm going to go run errands, this is my errand day. This is my office day for my day to balance the checkbook, to write bills. This is my cleaning day. So I had a focused effort on the thing that was important. And you'd be surprised at how many little foxes can steal your time when you're not organizing your time by like activities. Okay, by like activities. So I don't, file every day, every time something comes in from the mail. I just save it on the side, and then there's a certain day where I would file away. Now, again, you have to give yourself grace because it may not work that way, but you have to say, where are my little minutes going? Where are the things? Even with my children, with schooling them, homeschooling them, which we were homeschooling, of course, before Corona hit. I tell them, you do everything you can by yourself, and then I will answer your questions when it's our conference time. Not that they can't ever ask me a question, but if I'm working with one kid, the worst thing for me to do while I'm working with one kid is to be interrupted multiple times by the other kids. I have to say, do what you can. And if you can't do anything, then go read a book. But I'm going to focus on this one kid and their needs while I'm working through their anatomy or their algebra or their writing project. Then I will focus on you. Because the issue is when you allow the little foxes to steal from you, to steal time from you, the problem is not just the minutes that it steals from you. The problem is your focus. And do you realize how much further you can go on something when you're focused? When you just put your energy into it in front of you, okay? And then don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. Another thing is to write things down and to give them a home. Now, if I was really, together in my life, I would have the planner. But the planner's on my website. It's crystalevanshurst.com/shop. I actually think we're out of the quarterly planners, the 90-day planners. But I'm looking to see if I have it anywhere around me. It's over there. It's over there. Anyway, the thing is you need to give something a home. Just because you thought of it doesn't mean you have to do it. You can think of it and then say, this is when I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this Thursday afternoon. You can give it a time slot or a block slot. So one of the things I've done in blocking my time, I don't do it perfectly, but I try to give my kids the attention in the morning, and then after lunch, They do their thing and I do mine. So that way I can tell people, hey, my ongoing team knows, and it's been a little helter-skelter the last few weeks because of all that we've been going through, but they know Chrystal is most available in the afternoon. I am most available early in the morning, which is why I'm here with you. This is why it's 7 a.m. For those of you who are on the West Coast and are like, why is she doing this at 5 a.m. our time? It's because this is the best that time that works for me, and the time when I'm not interrupting other things. I block my time. Somebody's like, Jesse, get the plan. It's right there. I can get it. Y'all need me to get it? Y'all can just go to Chrystal Evans. I'll get it if you need me to. But anyway, so I block my time so that my kids know when they have me, and then I know when I have me. And the other thing for you who are letting your kids stay up late, please put them in bed. My kids were like 8 and 9 years old, still going to bed at 7. So I could function. So I could be a happy person. Block your time. Decide when your group-like activities together, okay? Group-like activities together. So I want to try to show y'all, I'm learning and I'm geeking out on some things. So I want to try to show you when I'm together, what it looks like for me to plan meals. Let me see if I can do it. He's coming back. He must have gone to get the planner. Did you get it? Thanks. Okay, so this is the planner, y'all. So we created this planner, and this is this thick version. It's the 1-year version. The good news is that it's not dated. So you can start it at any time. And they are at crystalevanshurst.com/shop. Okay. We have a 90-day version, but we're out of them. The good news is that we'll be starting another 90-day journey soon. So stay tuned for more information on that.
Is that the right one?
That's the right one. Thank you. Okay. So blocking like activities together. Oh, so I was going to show you what my meal plan looks like. And again, y'all, this is not, this is not, don't get too excited and say, oh my gosh, she's so organized. This is what I was able to do this week. So this is just going back to the meal plan thing. Okay. Are you able to see my screen? Can you see it? Sorry, Instagram. Sorry. It's plantoeat.com. Plantoeat.com. So if you're looking for an online meal planning situation, plantoeat.com. So if you're on Patreon, Facebook and Periscope and YouTube, you should be able to see. Okay, so you can see. So you can see what my plan is this week. Now it's not, Monday we had salmon, mac and cheese, and Caesar salad. Tuesday we had turkey, lasagna, and green beans. Last night I said poppy seed chicken, but we didn't do that because Karis came over and I let her cook because she wanted to. I supplied half of the thigh, I supplied half of the green beans, and we all God's children were happy. So this is what I use. I'll put a link to that in my in the resources, so that way you can click and go right there. And so anyway, but that's the thing. So another thing that I use was emails. So I'm going to get off of meals because meals is a whole, if y'all want to talk meals, I'll do that a whole nother day. All right. So hopefully that was helpful for y'all to see. Okay. So grouping like activities together. The other thing, apart from my planner, and I just believe in writing things down, is, and that's what happens when you walk with something you can write something down in, that gives you a place to put your little foxes. Just because I think about it doesn't mean I have to do it right now. And a lot of us are ruled by impulse. We do it because we thought about it. So we go and do it right now. Nope. Okay. If I want to call a friend, unless I feel like the Holy Spirit is saying, call a friend right now, I don't call them right now. I make a note. So I don't forget it, but I make a note to call them. But if I'm in the middle of a math problem with a kid, y'all, this is how I pray. I want to focus on talking to God when I'm talking to God, but that doesn't mean my mind doesn't wander. So I always keep a note. There are notepads everywhere in my house. I have one next to the bed. I have one on my desk. I have one on my desk downstairs. I have them in the kitchen. I have them in my purse because I don't want to allow the work that my mind is doing to hold me hostage to what I need to do right now. Okay? Somebody says, is this Tony Evans' daughter? Yes, I'm one of the girls. He has 2. You probably know about Priscilla. I always tell people for 10 years, I was really good at making peanut butter and jelly. Actually, my kids are so spoiled. They don't even like peanut butter and jelly. I have a whole jar of peanut butter. And I even said to my kids last week, what kind of kids are you? I only have one kid who kind of sort of likes peanut. What kind of kids are you? You know what that means? That means they're spoiled. That means I've been making them hot lunches and a whole lot of foolishness for all these years. But that season is over. I just woke up to the realization that y'all are 17, 15, and 11. Y'all better come up in here and make a whole day's worth of meals. I need a day off. Why am I making lunch? What do you mean you don't know how to make macaroni and cheese? Read the box. Dude, you're 17. They're very helpful. They're very willing to do it. It's just I was always making them food. And then their sisters made them food. And then when their sisters left, I had a helper. And she saw the meal plan. And she helped me with lunch every day so I could disappear and get some work done. And then it just dawned on me they are 17, 15, and 11 and wasn't cooking or cleaning. Cleaning up, like for real cleaning. So we have fixed that. Thank you, COVID-19, for the unintentional blessing of teaching my children how to do some stuff. Shucks. Anyway, I don't even remember what I was talking about. Prayer. When I'm praying and things come to mind, I just write them down. Because right now is my time with God. You have to decide who is giving your time, what is the most important use of your time. And then everything else is a fox. Now you have to know the difference between God saying, because there are inklings that the Holy Spirit will give you, that this person you need to text right now. And I do it. The Holy Spirit will tell you when you need to pause and do something that you didn't expect, because you don't need to be rigid with this. These, like I say, emotions should guide you, but they shouldn't govern you. I think your plans are the same. Don't be super rigid. And I scheduled my kids. That's another thing that's a resource, was our Hearst family plan. And I literally sat down and scheduled my schedule out in 30-minute increments for each kid. I had a column for each person in my family. My husband was like, don't schedule me. He don't know, but he got scheduled on the side. But anyway, I scheduled everybody. Now, I didn't adhere to that. It just was see, because some of you are at home right now and you need to schedule your time because you need to see where it goes. The same thing is true when your kids are small. I was so proud of my daughter the other day. She showed me her schedule for her kids. She was like, they're just running around all the time and I don't have a plan. So I just needed to know what they can do at different times of the day. And it's not that she sticks to that. It's just that you allow that to guide you. Okay. So when you're praying and you think of something, you write it down so that later when it's time, you can decide this is, my Instagram people are falling. You can decide where you're giving your time. And that's all I'm saying is you get to control what you do with your time. Your time shouldn't control you. The thought shouldn't control you. The impulse shouldn't control you, right? Don't they say you shouldn't go to the store when you're hungry? Why? Because you don't want the current emotion, the current feeling, the physical direction to drive what you buy. Because you need to be in control so you're not doing all those impulsive buys when you get to the line. The same is true of your time. You go with a list, you go when you're not hungry so you can make good decisions. Well, you approach your time the same way, your life the same way. You decide what you're going to spend your time with, because spending your time is a buying decision. You decide where you're going to spend your time, and then you don't make decisions when you're hungry. You don't make decisions when you're tired. You don't make decisions when you're frustrated. You don't make decisions when you're emotional. You make decisions when you are level-headed, and then the impulse decisions, they don't drive you. It's the same thing. So another hack that I do, now again, I'm a write things down person. I think, and I think we all need to be to a certain degree, because there's actually a different psychological, physiological process from writing things down. They did a study, and it's proven. They had a bunch of people in a classroom and taking notes. Some kids were taking notes with their laptops. Some kids were taking notes with writing. Immediately after the class, they closed the laptop, they closed the notebooks, they gave the kids a test. Okay, the kids who wrote things down all made C's or B's. The kids who typed with the type thing, their notes out, they failed. Because there is a different psychological process, a wiring in your brain. How things travel when you write them down is different than how things travel when you type them in. It travels a different path. So I believe in writing things down. Now that said, I also believe in planning things out. For a really long time, I used an app called Wunderlist. Wunderlist just died. So what I'm telling you is it doesn't matter. If you need an online reminder on your phone, use reminders. Okay, that's what I have because I have an iPhone. If you don't have that, whatever comes natively on your phone, use that to plan. I also use, because I am in a team environment where we work really hard to get things done and I need to coordinate with my team. I was like, why am I doing things in two different places? I use reminders to remind me to text somebody, to remind me to pray, to remind me to whatever, because I can talk. I can talk to Siri and tell her. But I also utilize for long-term planning I utilize, and I'm going to show my screen, I utilize an app called Asana. Now, I utilize it because I use it with a team. It's a little overwhelming to use by yourself, but I love it. So I didn't want to be in two places online, okay? So when Wunderlist was dying, I moved our team to Asana, and I'll show you a picture of that right now. So in Asana, you can see, I think you can see, yeah, you can see. I have things organized the way that I have them organized. Honestly, this is where it came from, y'all. I put stuff in the planner based on how I already organize my life. So I have things in Asana by week. What's this week? What has to be done this week? What has to be done this month? What has to be done? What I want to do this year? And I organize it that way. And then I have a section for ASAP because I thought about it and I need to do it right now. Like the next time I have room, when I sit down and plan my week, I come to my ASAP list and I say, where will these things fit in the right now, today or this week? So this is how it's, organized. I mean, you can look at it with a calendar. Now, y'all, this is a situation, okay? So I'm not saying, but some of you are already familiar with Asana because you work. And yes, I totally agree, Delissa. Wunderlist got bought by Microsoft, okay? And then Microsoft made an app called To Do. I don't like To Do as much. Now, there are other apps there's Todoist. There's, again, reminders. You can use your calendar. And then I want to show you one more tip that helps me plan time. Y'all, I could talk about productivity forever. So y'all know I have courses on writing and speaking. And they're up at any time, but y'all, I'm just going to tell you, if you have the time and you're like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to do Chrystal's courses because I've got 2 and I'm working on putting some more in there. Don't buy them now. Just hold on. They'll be on sale in just a second. But anyway, but the other thing I love to talk about is productivity. I love to talk about managing teams. I love to talk about building like businesses and getting and I'm learning, but I also realize that while I'm learning from some people, I can teach some people. So I think that's my next thing. Me and Monique, we're going to produce a productivity course for y'all. But anyway, my point is that y'all have to understand, I love this stuff. I love business and I love building things. My daddy can tell you, I'm always coming up with ideas for a new project, a new system. I love processes. Okay, anyway, it gets me excited. I love Jesus. But y'all, I was like, Jesus, you're going to have to help me do something business-wise because I love business. Somebody said, I'm getting a headache. I can't do all this planning. I'm going to give you a hack for those of you who aren't planners. That's just as good. So hang on with me 1 second. What did I just say I was going to do? I was going to show you one more thing. So there's one more thing that's super helpful for me because I have a lot of things happening in my life. So, Nate Terry, this is really going to give you a headache. So don't even look at this. My life is fairly complicated, okay? Because I have 3 kids who I'm homeschooling. I work at my church. I have my own business. I have my own ministry stuff. And then I have people that I'm keeping up with. There's a lot. There's a lot that's going on. So I want to show you what my calendar looks like. Okay? I want to show you what my calendar looks like. So my hack for managing your calendar is to color code. So don't get, some of y'all are in shock right now. I already know it. You're in shock. It's okay. Just take it in. The reason why I color code is because at a glance, I need to be able to see what is me, what is my husband, what is all family, what are the kids, what is people that are working for me, what are holidays, what are tasks that I cannot miss, like the tax day. So when I'm looking at my calendar, like right off the bat, without thinking too hard, somebody said, now I got a migraine. Without looking too hard, I can just see quickly. Okay. And then I also organize it this way because y'all, my husband doesn't want to know about everything that I'm doing. So I share all these calendars with appropriate people because again, I'm not just managing my life. I'm managing kids. I'm managing family. I'm managing people, work. So the girl who does the booking for me for my speaking and my writing, she doesn't see all the calendars. She sees the ones she needs to see. Monique probably sees all of them. My husband doesn't want to know that I have an appointment at 2:00 with my publisher. He doesn't want to know that. He wants to know, are you home or not? Are you in town or not? And so this is what that looks like. Okay. So that's that. But before that, y'all, and I don't have it up here. He's not gonna be able to find that. I will show you tomorrow. Marissa, write it down so I don't forget. Somebody said, this is me in nursing school. I will show you what it looked like when I was doing it on paper. You don't have to do it like that. I had a binder, y'all, and I just printed out monthly calendars. I just printed them out because it was free because I didn't have no money. And I wrote on them. And then after a while, when it became too much, then I started adding color. I just bought colored pens. I have a colored calendar on my wall right now. I always talk about it at Christmas time. I don't know the name of it, but I'll put a link to it in the show notes. It's the family calendar I always have, and I always put it on Amazon. It's a great Amazon buy. I put it on the wall so my kids can see it because they can't see into my phone. So these are all the things that I'm doing to make it easy to live within the boundaries of my life. Okay? Now, you don't have to do all these. So here's the hack that I want to tell you, that even with all these things, y'all, because I do need to plan. The reality is I do need to plan for my life because there's so many moving pieces. But every day, my friend Vicky Dominguez, I think she texted me this morning. I don't know if you're watching, Vicky. I don't know where you're watching. But y'all not going to make me a liar. I'm going to get off of here at 7:58 because I'm not going to be on here an hour. But it's already been 47 minutes. Asana is an app and it's online and on your phone. It's all the way around. I'll take questions just a moment because I'm getting distracted. Okay. So focus. I forgot what I was going to say. Hold on. Writing things down, the hack. Vicky said to me, because I was stressed out, because I'm a list person. And, okay, I'm going to answer this other question. Valerie, you said that you're overwhelmed. This is only one step at a time. This is why, y'all, there was a 90-day journey, because I wanted to break it into steps for people. So that's why that's what it is. It's how to get things done in 90 days, but coming to your plan slowly so you're not overwhelmed. So when people say, what is the 90-day journey? That's what it's about. Okay, so the hack is, Vicky told me, because I was a list person, you're overwhelmed because you have too many things on your list. You're in a season where you have small children and you're used to being able to get a lot of things done. And you need to recognize that your capacity has shifted. While you're the same person, your capacity is different because your kids are demanding something from you that you're not used to, which are micro interruptions all day long, right? And so you need to adjust to big wins. So this is actually another part of how we plan and how I teach other people to plan. You need to decide for your day, what are your big three? If you don't do anything else today, what are your big three? What Vicky told me is, write things down as you do them. And then at the end of the day, pat yourself on the back for what you did do. So we all need to have a sense of accomplishment. We all need that, y'all. We all need it. Some of us can decide beforehand what we're going to accomplish that day and then have a deep satisfaction that we did what we were created to do that day. Some of us, y'all, we are just doing the best we can all the time. And we just need to write down that we did something today and celebrate ourselves at the end of the day. Reflect on our day and say, what did I do that was good? Okay. I wake up every morning. This is it's something I talk about in my book, She's Still There. It's not a plugless tip. It's a tip because people will ask me, so what chapter is that? And I don't even know, y'all. I wrote the book. I don't even know. But I talked about this idea of getting up every morning. And every morning there's a simple prayer before I put my feet on the floor. It's not my deep prayer. It's not my Bible study prayer. It's just a simple before I get up. Lord, today is your day. Would you show me how to be an instrument of your grace, your kindness, and your mercy? And will you show me, and your power, because I'm an instrument of his power too. And would you show me what's important for me from you? What do you want me to do today? I want to tell you that some of the most important decisions I've ever made is because I asked God, what did he want me to do that day? Would you cause me to see that what I did not plan today, that you have on my plan for today, would you cause me to be interrupted today by the things you need me to intersect with? The person you need me to meet, the person you need me to talk to, the phone call you need me to make, the task that you need me to postpone, or that you need me to take off my list. Would you interrupt my plans? Because can I just tell you, that his plans for us are not always the plans we have for ourselves. The Bible says that his ways are not our ways and his thoughts are not our thoughts. The Bible says that he does exceedingly and abundantly above all that we can ask or think. And so what you need to know, that the most important thing that you do, whether you plan or not, whether you calendar or not, whether you Asana or not, whether you write things down or not, but I will say you should write things down always. I will say that you need to stop and ask God, give me what's important. What Holy Spirit, let whatever is important to me rise up in my head. Let it be a thought that came out of nowhere so that I know it came from you. Let me know what's important to you for me to do today. Intersect my plans, and then write those things down. At the end of the day, let me tell you something. At the end of the day, if you can see that you got 3 things done, it doesn't matter if you planned them. It doesn't matter if God interrupted, but you can celebrate. These are the 3 things I did today with my time. Then you win. And I can guarantee you that we all are doing at least 3 things a day. The question is, are the 3 things that are meaningful to you and that matter? So yes, plan. Yes, write things down. Yes, consult God. But then I want to encourage you every day to give yourself the satisfaction of going to sleep, before you go to sleep, saying, what did I do today? What did I do today to love on my family? What did I do today to love on myself? What did I do today to love on my neighbor? Because really, y'all, what does the Bible say? It's a great command. Besides, go ye therefore and make disciples, teaching all nations in Matthew 28. It's love your neighbor as yourself. Some of y'all just need to love the people that are down the hallway. What did you do to love on you? What did you do because when you value yourself by pouring into yourself, taking the test, cleaning up the kitchen. I mean, we got to bring this thing down to little things, because we're only giving ourselves credit often for the big things. But listen, you're doing stuff every day that matters. And like I told y'all before, the things that my mom did consistently, that were the small things, that we had a clean home. And she made sure when she wasn't cleaning, we were cleaning. We all knew how to clean really well. That we had hot meals. She made sure that our home was a place of respite. Our pictures are on the wall. The things that she celebrated. I mean, she has all of these photo albums, y'all. Small things. But her discipline in keeping up every Christmas. She printed the pictures for the year and she put them in albums. Do you know how much of a gift that is to us right now? That was an accomplishment. So don't downplay the small things that you're doing every day that are gifts to you, your family, to your neighbors, to your coworkers. Don't downplay who you are and what you do. Celebrate it and acknowledge what you do. So I gave y'all some hacks, some productivity tips, but it goes back to this. If you're saying you don't have enough time, okay, identify what you don't have time, what you don't have time to do. If I had time, I would do this. Take an inventory of your time. Make sure you're on my email list. I'll make sure that you get the manager minutes. We're going to send out an email probably y'all Friday afternoon when I'm done, or Saturday morning. So give us a time to collect all of these things and put them together for you. Then you identify where you're losing time. Where are the little foxes? And then you get inspired because of the discoveries that you've made. And then yes, use your calendar. Yes, write things down. Yes, get a planner, y'all. And listen, it doesn't have to be my planner. Go to Target when you're getting your groceries and stand there in the planner aisle and get one. I have one, but it doesn't have to be mine, okay? Write things down. Get your notebooks, get your situation, and don't stress. Start slow, but if you don't do anything else, give your day to God every day. And then at the end of every day, recognize yourself for what you did right, okay? Give yourself a little pat on the back. That's what you especially have to do when you're working on a job where your boss doesn't appreciate you, when you're wondering if your kids or your husband even care that you keep putting meals on the table, when you keep being the neighbor person who makes sure that, if something looks fishy, you call the other neighbors and you're not sure that they're being a good neighbor to you. All these things that you're like, does it even matter if I do it? Yes, it does. But let me tell you, don't wait on other people to pat you on the back. Okay, questions. Somebody said, you have a planner? Yes. We made a year planner. Well, I'm going to talk about this while y'all. Somebody said watching you has made me get up earlier. Good. I'm glad. Okay. This is why I created a planner. You want to know why I created a planner? I created a planner because every year I keep buying planners, trying to find one that worked for me. And then I was like, you know what? I actually have a system. I've had a system for years. I did what worked for me. I did it in a Word document and in printing pages for free off the internet. And then I said, you know what? Why don't I put my planner? Why don't I make a planner? So y'all, listen, I don't know how to make a planner. So I came up with a system. Monique is better at graphics than I am. So we put it together. We talked through it. She listened to me. I drew things out on a piece of paper. And then we did hire a designer on Upwork to put some stuff together. My graphic designer made a cover. And you know what we did, y'all? We uploaded the whole thing and found a printer in Dallas who would bind it for us like this. And then we did it. And the only thing that really makes my planner different than anybody else's, and this, I'm proud of this, actually. Okay, and then I'll put your questions in there. All right. The thing that I love about my planner is that every week, and this is why the planner was too thick, and this is why we came up with a 90-day planner. Every week, it says, let me do this. It says, reflect on in the 90 day, it's every week. In the big one, it's every month. It says, reflect on the month to come and reflect on the month gone by or the week gone by. And there are questions in here and quotes. So if you've ever said, I wish I could carry Chrystal in my head with me because she makes me think and she asks good questions and I just don't know how to examine my life and I don't know how to look at my life and I don't know how to segment what's really important, then that's who I made the journal so you could carry this journal planner so that you could carry me in your back pocket. Think about your life and not be attentive to the things that are really important. So that's what it is. And it's at crystalevanshurst.com.shop. And then somebody else asked me, you're not going to get me to lie. I'm not going to be on here longer than an hour. What's the book I put up? It's mine. I have 3 books, actually. 4th one that's coming out this summer. This is the latest one. She's Still There. And this does talk about discipline. Okay. All right. And time, it doesn't talk much about time management, but it does talk about discipline. Okay. All right. So let me look for questions. Questions. Where can you buy that? ChrystalEvansHurst.com. Let's see. I'm going to take questions from Instagram first. Full Circle Planner. Yes, I have my own. I do. You're going to start walking on the treadmill watching me. Yes. Awesome. Okay. Somebody said I downplayed myself too much. All right. I was looking for questions on Instagram, but I don't see any. Don't see any yet. Are there Bible and prayer prompts? There are blank pages in there for you to write your own prayers. And there are not Bible prompts, but there is a place on the monthly calendar for you to write down the scripture or quote or whatever inspires you or that you're trying to meditate on. I did give you a place on the monthly calendar to put that scripture. Do my kids have a bedtime? I mean, right now, not as much. I always tell them I want them to be ready for bed at 8:30 and I want lights out at 9. As a newly divorced woman, what is the next step? You know what? You have to sit down, Nicole, and decide what's important to you. Because I've met so many women who, because they're widowed or divorced, they don't know where they begin because they didn't know where the other person ended. It all got muddled up. And they don't even know. One lady told me my husband died and I raised my kids. And then I went to the store when my kids were gone and I realized I didn't even know what fruit I liked. I'd always bought for my husband and I bought for my kids. And then I didn't actually know what my favorite fruit was. So she said, I've just entered a season of discovering me. And you need to give yourself permission to enter a season of discovering you. Okay. Somebody said, what do you need to do when you feel unmotivated? Listen, motivation is a feeling. And you might be surprised that when you just pick something, anything that you know you need to do, go for a walk outside, make up your bed, plan your meals, eat vegetables. It doesn't matter. Drink water. If you do one thing that you know you need to do, the momentum comes from that. It's like a falling domino. So don't be so sad that you're not motivated. Decide to do something. And that's a whole thing I talked about in this book, this principle of progress. It's a wheel of progress. You start with a decision. That's where everything starts, is a decision, not a feeling. It's a decision. The feeling comes afterwards. Okay. So hopefully that is helpful to you. Curriculum that you use, I'm eclectic. I've homeschooled long enough to use a ton of curriculum, ton of things. I would say that if you're, my 2 top though, Sunlight, because the books are phenomenal and I've raised readers, even if they don't like to read. They read. And the books are great. Also My Father's World, which is a little more doable, a little more organized, and a little less expensive. So that's it. But I'm like, you know what? In the 80s when homeschooling was illegal in many states, people homeschooled at their library. And they went online. You can go to, I have a whole thing, y'all, on World Book, on homeschooling on YouTube. We'll make sure that we put that link there because I talked all about curriculum. You can go and just Google Chrystal Hurst Homeschool and it'll come up. So let me take some questions from these other platforms. Okay, let me look for questions. How do you develop balance? Okay, I'll talk about this for a quick second. This would be a great thing at some time for me to bring Priscilla back on for because she has a great system. So Jalise said, how do you balance your devotional time reading your Bible? I only have 2 minutes left on Instagram, y'all. I'm going to go over a little bit. Dang it, I've been on an hour. But anyway, if you want to keep going, because I want to answer at least 2 or 3 questions on Facebook and YouTube, just jump over to Facebook or YouTube or Periscope or Twitter. How do you balance your devotional time reading your Bible in the day? So I like in the morning to set the tone for my day, but I want to do it quick. So I read a devotional, Jesus Calling, or a chapter if I'm reading through the Bible, like something that I can just do a quick, it's like a quick cup of coffee. I like to study at a different time because I don't want to feel rushed. So I like to study at night so I can go until I'm done. You know what I mean? I don't want to finish. I don't want to be interrupted. So I do want to do something in the morning to start my day. And then I want to study at a different time. BSF, when I was doing that, my online group met in the morning. So that was, 45-minute meeting and then I was done. So I like to start my day with prayer, but I like to study when I like to. So sometimes if I'm studying for a teaching or something like that, then I will do it in the middle of the day if I'm preparing for an actual thing. But if it's my personal, I like doing that at night so I can be free to do that. Yes, Monique sounds awesome. She is awesome. Very, very grateful for her. Let's see. What are a few key things your dad did that kept you and your siblings rooted in Christ? This is a question from Periscope, Tramel. My dad did devotions at the table. So we still do that at the table. We breakfast or lunchtime. Right now, I'm reading through a book with my kids. We're reading a book called Revealed. It's a book from the Bible study. Dang it, what's the name of the movie? It's one of those movies Priscilla was in. The last movie she was in. Anyway, I can't think of the movie. But anyway, y'all, my brain, y'all ask me these questions. I'm doing my best. So we're reading through a book together. I read to my kids a lot, and I haven't done it in recent years as much as I'd like to, but I just started another book with them at night. And a lot of times it would be the books we couldn't get to for school, for reading, and we'd make it a read aloud. But there's a great series. If y'all remind me, if you write it down, Marissa, I will hold that book up tomorrow. It's a great series that I read for boys, and we loved it. And then when I got tired of reading it, we got them on Audible, and we would listen in the car, listen as a family. But my dad did. We had devotions at the kitchen table, and y'all, a lot of people say, how do you know what you're going to teach on when you're teaching the Bible, when you're writing? Y'all, a lot of those things I taught my kids first. I memorized the scriptures that I'm teaching my kids. We memorized scripture together. My kids were in Awana. My dad took us on vacation. We had family nights, game nights. So we had a lot of family-centered activities. And that kept us rooted in Christ, but it also kept us rooted together. And because my parents were rooted in Christ, so were we. So hopefully that's a good answer to that question. Looking for more questions here. Felicia's asking, what kind of discipline does the book talk about? It talks about when you say you're not a disciplined person, how that's a lie. In fact, let me prove this. I actually put something together for y'all and I forgot about it. I'm going to talk about it. Basically, it talks about the principle of discipline, how most people lie to themselves about whether or not they can be disciplined, and what to begin to do to be a disciplined person if you before now had not thought that you were. Okay? If I can find it, because my life, hold on. Okay, hold on one second. I'm gonna show you something to answer that question just a little bit. But here's the thing: most of us who say we're not disciplined, it's not that we're not disciplined. It's just that because we assume that there are people who are disciplined because they have things we don't have. And I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to give you a case in point and talk to you about what I was watching last night. All right, hold on one second.
But there is a misnomer, and I want to bust up the misnomer, and then I want to tell you what you can do to move forward in your life to be a disciplined person, because we all can be. First of all, we all are disciplined people. You got a house over, you live in a house, you got a roof over your head. Do you make it to work every day? Okay, you're disciplined. You're just disciplined to do certain things and not disciplined to do other things. So everybody can be disciplined. We just pick and choose what we're disciplined in doing. Okay? So that's the first thing. You're not disciplined. So quit speaking that narrative over your life. The second thing is discipline is really just a decision that you make over and over and over again to do the thing the way you're supposed to do it. Problem is, we mistake motivation for discipline. Motivation means I feel like doing it. So I'm motivated by how I feel. I'm motivated by fear. I'm motivated by a consequence. I'm motivated by a reward. And as long as that consequence or reward is in place, we'll do it. Disciplined people, the people that we think are disciplined people, are disciplined because they make a decision. And when the feeling goes away, they still continue to make the decision. But there are things that you can put into place to help you make better decisions. One is clear the runway of your mind and your heart and your time and your life to give yourself the room you need to exercise the energy that's required to create new paths in your life.
Okay, so that is a little clip that I took of a talk that I did on discipline because I knew that would come up here. But that's the thing. You need to understand that you can be disciplined and you can manage your time. So last night, here was the thing I wanted to tell y'all about, and then I'll roll up out. Last night I was watching, there's a documentary on ESPN about Michael Jordan. So Karis came over, brought her whole family, and we watched 2 episodes so we could get caught up. It's a great thing for my boys to watch. His work ethic, his mindset about winning and being willing to do what other people were not. And this is the bottom line, y'all. And by the way, I mean, it's great. Be careful with your little kids because they did bleep out a lot of the horrible language, but it's still bleeped out. And every now and again, something slips through. So I just want to give that disclaimer. But the reality, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes. But in the reality, He was just willing. And when you look at other people and you say, well, they're just more disciplined than I am. No, maybe that there are parts of their personality that predispose them towards that. But the bottom line is they're just willing to do what other people are not. You have to be willing to do what other people are not. And that means it starts with making decisions about small things that you're going to do. One of the worst mistakes that we make is to try to make a lot of changes in our life all at the same time. All at the same time. You got to start with one thing and say, I'm going to do this one thing. And then let the discipline that you build in that one season domino into the other things. I am my best person when I am running. And I'll tell you why. And some people will say this about making their bed. There's a whole book that is called Make Your Bed. And it was written by a colonel in the army who wrote a book, and he talked about the discipline that many people desire starts with making your bed in the morning. Flylady.net. If you're like, I don't know how to organize my home, I don't know how to clean up. Y'all, in my early years, I subscribed to her emails. She sent me an email every day that gave me one thing to do. And it started with shining my sink, making sure my dishes were clean, and then making sure when I had a stainless steel sink, that I shined it. And I had such satisfaction from cleaning my sink every night. And that one win dominoed into others. So for some of y'all, it's making your bed. For me, it's running in the morning. If I do that one thing, all of a sudden, I've changed the narrative of who I am in my head. And it dominoes. So you got to stop trying to change everything at one time and say, I'm going to change one thing. I'm going to focus on one thing. I'm going to drink more water. That's my one thing. I'm going to go for a walk. That's my one thing. I'm going to make my bed. That's my one thing. I'm going to clean my sink. That's my one thing. I'm going to plan this week of meals. That's my one thing. And when you do that, one, you change the narrative in your head about who you are. Two, it leaves room for one thing in your life. See, this is the physical part of this. It takes one thing in your life that now you don't think about. And you just made room to think about another thing. Okay? You literally are replotting tracks in your brain. You're literally redrawing the boundary lines in your brain. And you can only do that one or two things at a time. So many of us fail because we're trying to do too much. Okay, well, if y'all have followed me for a while and you've seen the Fat Demon Challenge, maybe I'll do that soon. Cause y'all, some of us are at home. We're getting better. Or we getting bigger. And people were like, "You starting that with just drinking more water?" Because I was ready to make all the changes in my diet. No. The reason why you're gaining weight is because you did all the things at one time and then you quit doing them because it was too much to keep up with. Start one thing at a time, and then decide what you're going to add after that. Okay, so somebody asked me, yeah, there's an app for water. I have that on my device. Okay, so I'm going to put this quote up here. I don't know your real name, but Sander SCM says, I never knew that about making your bed. I always was taught to make my bed every day, and when I tell people I do it faithfully, they wonder why. I had no idea what was really happening. And for some people it's making your bed, but it has to be something. You got to get up at the beginning of the day and say there's something that I'm deciding in my life. And then you become the kernel of your day. Your day is not running you. You wake up, don't wake up to your phone. Don't wake up to your phone because then your phone is driving your day. You wake up to whatever it is that's going to give you a win, and then you just keep winning. You just keep winning. I wanted to take one more question, and then I'm going to jump off. While I'm looking for one more question, I want to make sure you all know this kind of content, and even the thing that I just showed y'all, is what I do all the time in the inner circle, and what I do a little bit of the time in the Facebook group. So the Facebook group, ChrystalEvansHurst.com/Facebook group, is a place where we drop in with the questions that we know you have, and we let y'all help each other. And every now and then I drop in with a little something that I want to say. But the Facebook group is a great group to connect in, and it's a place where if I'm going to deliver things, I go first to my email list, which is why I told you, go to my site, ChrystalEvansHurst.com, second to the Facebook group, and then, excuse me, and then third to everybody else if I'm going to do it on social media, okay? Now, if you want more content like this, I'm doing bonus content right now on a torrential downpour because, y'all, we all need help, and I want to be helpful. But I also want you to know that I do extra stuff like this all the time in the inner circle. People that are in the circle basically have said, you know what, I want to actually make a contribution to what you do. There are multiple levels. The only level that's open right now is the co-producer level. It's $5. And it basically allows you to get some extra content when there's extra content. And if I do freemiums or printables or screen locks for your phone, I give them there first. Because of the support that you all are giving me. And so if you want more about the inner circle, which is something a little different than everything else, then you can certainly check there. And then somebody asked, when will the 90-day experience open back up? It's coming. It's coming. I have so many things I'm so excited to tell you about, y'all. So excited. And I will tell you as soon as we've locked it down and you can take action. But if you're on my email list, you'll know. You'll know. So that's the most important thing. Okay, I don't know that I see any more questions. Y'all are just commenting about how making your bed is a good place to start and Fly Lady is great and all of that. Let me see. I'm glad you're tuning in. I see you. Okay. I answered that question. You said, where do I find the inner circle? Love the inner circle, but it's a wealth of info. It is. And right now it's been on like fire hose because all of the lives that we've been doing, we take them down after a week and we put them in the inner circle because that's really what they're for, and they become a part of the inner circle library. I left up my first one with Jan Greenwood, and I left up my dad because he's Tony Evans, and everybody should just have access to Tony Evans. Okay, so y'all are just commenting in agreement. So I hope this teaching has been helpful to you. So here's what you need to do. Identify where you don't have time. Inventory your time. I'll send out the manager minutes as soon as we can. Then identify where you have room to make a trade. Get off of social media and read that book or write that book. And then get inspired about all the things that you can fit in that when you look at where you can. I hope the tips and tools have been helpful. I hope the hacks have been helpful. And I can dive in deep to those at another time. Maybe they'll be part of a course or maybe they'll be a part of another live. But I hope this has given you some juice to get started with. And I will see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And y'all had a great time with Michelle. I may bring her back on. I told her, I said, when are you off again? Because, she's a nurse. And I said, if you'll come back on with me, I might be willing to have you. Don't forget, y'all, like my kids say, don't forget to like and subscribe. I got kids. Y'all, these babies, y'all, with these YouTube channels. Like, hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's the truth. So if you are not subscribed to my email list, that's the only thing you need to do today. But if you want to do more, if you want to get reminders of when I go live, make sure that you have liked my Facebook channel or subscribed to my YouTube channel. On YouTube, you ring the bell because you'll get notified when you go live. On Facebook, you can turn on notifications so that everything that comes up, you see it. That you're telling Facebook, hey, no matter what she does, I want to see it in my feed. And on Instagram, if you're just on here, it'll pop up and you'll see that I've gone live. All right, y'all. I hope that this is great. I'm enjoying y'all. I hope you're enjoying this. And yes, watch from the beginning because I have totally broken my rule. But it's Jesse's fault. He was egging me on, bringing me things to show y'all and all that stuff. Somebody asked me when the 90-day planner will be available. We'll restock it soon. We're working on making some updates because while the year planner that's in the store right now has everything in it, it couldn't do every week because then the planner would have been like this thick. So the reason why we have the 90-day planner is because we have every week reflections in there. And we were making some quick updates, and we're going to have them printed soon. But the year ones are in there. All right, y'all. Have a great day. I'm going to go and get ready to do things today. Have all the things. Thanks, Marissa, for taking notes. Thanks, Monique, for watching. And I know some of the other interns who are on here have been watching, too. So grateful for interns, y'all. So many great girls who are doing rock star things to make things happen. Because y'all will say, Chrystal, how do you have time for all this? I don't. I have a great team, ongoing team, and an intern team for 2020. Every year I've had a great team who make sure that these things are happening for y'all. So thank you for your support, showing up, and being here. It's encouraging to me. All right, y'all. Talk to you later. Have a great day. Bye.